What's the saying? Go woke, go broke. Hi, I'm Brian Lilley, political columnist with the Toronto Sun. Joining me, fellow columnist Jamil Giovanni. And Jamil, I want to talk to you about this PayPal CEO who's leaving, and there's a bit of the go woke, go broke attached to him. But I have to say, I've used PayPal for years, but I don't use it as much as I used to. And I mentioned it to somebody the other day. I went to go pay for off a Starbucks app, and I said, I've had PayPal so long, or the Starbucks app so long, that I was still using PayPal when I set it up. So, that was a comment on PayPal being old and dated in the tech world. The CEO, Dan Schulman, saying he's going to step down soon. And you're saying it's got to do with the fact that they took their eye off the ball of being a pay service and decided to get into politics. Give me the background here.
Yeah, so Schulman's been the CEO since 2014, so it's been a while, and he's saying he's retiring for personal reasons. The usual. I want to spend more time at home. I've got hobbies and passions, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe he's got a memoir to write, but it's hard to ignore the context of him announcing his retirement because just a few months ago, he oversaw what was called a misinformation policy at PayPal, which ultimately led in October 2022 to the company losing 5% of its stock value, which amounted to $6 billion of lost value. And so, this whole misinformation thing, I mean, a lot of people listening to us right now will know that word means a lot of different things to different
Mm-hmm.
people. And it became very controversial among customers because what PayPal had said is if they find you guilty of misinformation without actually defining misinformation in any way, they would deduct $2,500 from your PayPal account as a fine. And naturally, people were upset about that, and it created this social media uproar. So it's hard to think that had nothing to do with his decision to leave just a few months later.
I've heard governments define misinformation as any news story they don't like. They all want to fight it, but they'll just label it as misinformation when they don't like it. It'll be 100% accurate, but they'll just call it misinformation. So why would PayPal, like, this was not to do with, let's say I'm selling flowers and using PayPal. It's not because I made false statements about the flowers I'm selling or the chocolates that I'm selling to my customers. This is if they didn't like what I said politically, they would take money out of my account.
Exactly. So PayPal never actually defined how they would use this power. What does it mean to spread misinformation? Really, it just seemed like they were saying, look, if we don't like you, we're going to take your money out of our system. And naturally, people are very upset about that. Certainly, we have laws in place to protect consumers, and anything that would be violating, the trust consumers have when they're purchasing a good or a service through PayPal, like that is within bounds. What's out of bounds is businesses starting to say, well, if we don't agree with your politics, we're going to punish you as a consumer, and taking that in a very bizarre direction. And that's why PayPal backed down. I mean, anybody who thinks this is a good policy, PayPal ultimately disagrees with you because they backed down on this idea. They said it was an error. They didn't mean to publish this policy, a lot of stuff that no one really believed, hoping that it would do some damage control. And with Schulman leaving, it kind of looks like maybe their damage control didn't work.
Look, I think that businesses should be able to determine who they will and won't do businesses with, the right to refuse service. I'm all for that. And if you say I'm not going to do business with certain types of other businesses, that's fine. That is your choice. But this was if I don't like your politics, I'm going to basically steal from you. I mean, because it'd be one thing if they said, Jamil, you've said some crazy stuff. We're just going to cut ties. You go your own separate way. That's one thing. But say, we're going to fine you. You have no reason, no ability, no right to fine your customers because you disagree with their politics. That's bonkers.
Yeah, and I think another element of this too is, at some point businesses become so big that this type of behavior ultimately influences our democracy. So if a business is powerful and influential enough that it starts to discourage certain political views among the population, I think our governments should take interest in that. And that has been the whole drama, the whole controversy over big tech's accumulating influence in Western democracies. So there's a lot of layers to this. I mean, I certainly respect the private, power and interests of businesses, but we also have to be careful that they're not exercising exercising an undue amount of influence over, working and middle class people based on the interests of the few wealthy and well connected who might be in their C-suites.
Yeah. Oh, very good point. Let us know what you think. Drop comments down below. Share this on social media, those big tech people that we're bashing right now. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.